The miracle doctor won't be a kept man, my heart belongs ashore. Chapter 771. At Snow Xander's home, Kiran York had prepared a feast, with dishes full of color, aroma, and taste. Snow, acting like a little glutton, had already sneaked several bites. Kiran pretended not to notice. "Honey, why didn't you cook earlier?" Snow said regretfully, thinking she could have enjoyed such delicious meals sooner. "When I was looking for a wife, I wanted someone to take care of me, not to be a nanny," Kiran joked. "Go away." Snow playfully scolded him and added, "Fine. From now on, I'll give you 10,000 a day to cook for me." "No problem." Kiran surprisingly agreed. Snow was taken aback. Then she happily jumped into Kiran's arms. "Honey, could I be pregnant?" Kiran held Snow tightly. "Probably." "That's great," Snow exclaimed joyfully. But then she looked at Kiran and asked, "Didn't you say a few days ago that you didn't know?" Kiran nodded. "That's true." "Then how do you know?" "You didn't get your monthly visitor," Kiran replied. Snow suddenly realized it was true and that she hadn't noticed the date. Knowing Kiran remembered made her feel sweet, but she still acted haughty, saying, "You're annoying. I was just a few days late." "Well, maybe it will come tomorrow," Kiran teased. "Go away. You're irritating me." Snow pouted playfully. Kiran smiled and looked towards the door. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. "Who's here?" Snow curiously moved to open the door. "I'll get it." Kiran released Snow and went to open the door. He saw Lilian and Kate Gannon standing outside. Kiran said nothing, merely stepping back to allow them in. Lilian and Kate entered, both immediately noticing the delicious aroma of the food. Instinctively, they looked at the table, and both were stunned by the sight of the dishes. The food looked so inviting that their appetites were whetted immediately. Snow, somewhat cautious of Kate, still smiled and said to Lilian, "Sis, come and sit down for dinner." Lilian turned to Kate. "Let's eat together." Kate became angry at Lilian. "You came to help me, not to have dinner. How can we have the strength to help if we don't eat?" Lilian responded and sat down, looking at Kiran. "Serve me some rice." Kiran didn't quite understand Lilian and Kate's purpose. He looked at Kate. "Are you eating?" "No." Kate was still angry from being hit. She wanted to kill Kiran, not eat dinner. "Then get out of the way and stop bothering us," Kiran said irritably. "You." Kate was furious. "Lilian, kill Kiran now." "Idiot." Kiran scolded Kate again. "What did you say?" Kate yelled, furious. "Lilian is my fiancée. She'd be a widow if she killed me. Only an idiot like you would think of that." "Kiran, I'll fight you." Kate, who had never been hit or insulted, was really angry. She charged at Kiran like a shrew. Kiran sidestepped and grabbed her by the waist. "Ah!" Kate screamed in terror. Kiran threw her onto the sofa with a thud. Kate felt like her body was falling apart and trembled. She tried to get up. Kiran approached and slapped her several times. "Ah!" Kate cried out in pain, her cheeks flushed, her body weak. Kiran, done slapping her, turned away and went to the sink, using soap to wash his hands as if fearing she was germ-ridden. Kate's mind was in chaos. She was furious to the point of wanting to kill someone. However, she had no strength to stand up. Kiran returned to the dining table. "Let's eat." Lilian, not concerned with Kiran's actions, focused on eating and savoring the delicious dishes. Kiran was more relaxed, eating happily. Having already eaten a bit earlier, Snow was eating slowly and leisurely. Meanwhile, Kate lay on the sofa, hearing Kiran eat, feeling mocked. Kate's rage surged again and again, wanting to explode. Kiran, pretending not to notice, asked, "Which dish do you like? I'll make it again." "The fish is very tasty," Snow said. Lilian added, "I think the Buddha jumps over the wall is great." "I think eating with beautiful women makes everything delicious," Kiran joked. "Kiran, you bastard. Kill me if you dare." Kate, triggered by their conversation, shouted angrily. Kiran ignored her and continued, "Seeing someone drooling from the smell, I'm even happier, and my appetite has increased." "You bastard. Kill me if you dare." Kate nearly choked on her anger. A 30-something-year-old woman that's not even given birth to a single hair dares to call herself mom. Kiran sneered. "You." Kate was utterly defeated. She lost verbally. She lost physically. Lilian glared at Kiran, signaling him not to go too far. Kiran ignored her and continued, "Kate, are you hungry?" "Not hungry." Kiran slammed his bowl down and turned towards the sofa. Lilian and Snow were puzzled. Why was he angry at a simple not hungry? The two women quickly followed him. Kiran was already in front of Kate, who lay on the sofa, unable to move. Do you think saying you're not hungry is a noble thing? Yes. Yes, my foot. Slap. Kiran slapped Kate. Ah. Kate cried in pain. Slap. Kiran slapped again. You all have been self-sufficient, which is why Imperial Dragon declined. Slap. Kiran slapped again. You think you're noble? If you're really noble and dignified, why didn't you get back Blake Frost's body? Slap. Kiran kept slapping. Inspecting a bunch of useless people in Imperial Dragon. What nonsense. Slap. Kiran's hand kept moving. Come in here to show off. If you have any shame, go kill yourself. Slap. Slap. Kiran grew angrier as he spoke. Imperial Dragon became useless because of women like you. Slap. 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 Kiran's hand kept slapping, and the beaten parts of Kate started to swell visibly. Kate was crying initially, but eventually, she stopped crying or cursing. Instead, she buried her head in the sofa, too embarrassed to look up. She seemed a bit bewildered by the beating. Chapter 772. Kiran York raised his hand and pulled Kate Gannon up. Kate quickly covered her flushed cheeks with her hands, not daring to let Kiran and the others see. Seeing her blushing, Kiran was astonished. Could she be like Lindsay Ludwig, falling for him after being hit? While he was surprised, Kate suddenly dropped her hands and looked at Kiran. Despite her flushed cheeks, she said, Kiran, just you wait. I'll make you understand that Imperial Dragon has dignity. Dignity belongs to Blake Frost, to Foxgate, and to unsung heroes like Elliot. Not to you lot. Kiran scoffed. You are parasites in Imperial Dragon. Just a bunch of freeloading useless idiots. If you have any dignity, come and kill me. Kiran said, pushing Kate out the door. Bang! Kiran slammed the door. Ah! Kate yelled angrily through the door. Kiran, just you wait. Kiran ignored her. Kate finally turned away, frustrated. Kiran looked at Lilian Yangs and laughed. Lilian's beautiful face also broke into a smile. Thank you. I should thank you instead, Kiran said sincerely. What do you mean? Snow Xander asked curiously. Lilian replied, Kiran wants Kate to play a bigger role, to strengthen Imperial Dragon. Kate. Snow was shocked. Kiran nodded. Though she's stubborn, Kate has a certain resilience that could be effective. Snow was amazed and then asked, why are you thanking Lilian? Foxgate is weak, but she leads it, sticking to her mission, teaching everyone in Imperial Dragon a lesson. Kiran looked at Lilian. You're remarkable. Lilian's face suddenly changed. Her soft heart felt touched and grateful. For years apart from Zara Yangs, Kiran was the only one who understood her. Not wanting Lilian to be too emotional, Kiran changed the subject. There's an Oiran Organization branch at the Sea of Love Leisure Club, led by Jessie Jensen. You've done well, finding out so quickly. Lilian praised, snapping back to reality. Kiran smiled. It wasn't hard. Lilian asked, what do you plan to do? I've warned Jessie. Now, it depends on them. If they act up, I'll destroy them. What about Yasuda Corporation? Lilian inquired. I told Jessie I need 100 million every day. If she runs out of money, she'll turn to Yasuda Corporation. I'm hoping to use her to drain Yasuda of money. Lilian laughed but quickly blushed, regaining her seriousness. Only you would think of that. Kiran shrugged. Whatever. If they monitor the enemy for us, it's easier. Okay, I think Imperial Dragon will behave for a while. The key enemy is still Yasuda Corporation. It's in Sunland. Kiran emphasized. Lilian nodded. Kiran suddenly looked toward the door. Lilian also glanced over. Kiran walked to the door. Just as he reached it, there was a knock. Kiran opened it to find the flower girl. Why are you here? Kiran was surprised. The flower girl, normally haughty, was now humble, even cautious. Master Azura sent me. Come in. Kiran opened the door. The flower girl nodded. Lilian and Snow were surprised to see her. Snow offered the flower girl water and food, but she declined. How's the blood cave? Kiran asked. The vengeful souls have been freed. Master Azura and the Goo Mistress will stay to protect the Dragon Vein. They sent me to inform you. The flower girl looked at Kiran, her eyes filled with nervousness. After seeing Kiran's power, she was truly afraid. Thank Master Azura and the Goo Mistress, Kiran said. Touched. They're happy to contribute, the flower girl said. Your timing is perfect. I need help at Dragon's Mount to guard the hero's tomb. Okay. There's also Father Larson and Faber Luther, my people. You three will guard the Sword Pavilion, Hero's Tomb, and the York Traditional Medicine Clinic. Rest assured, young Master York, the flower girl said, relieved to have a job. Kiran looked at Snow. Snow quickly pulled out a bank card and said, here's 10 million. Use it. And tell me if you need more. No need. I have money. The flower girl tried to refuse but, seeing Kiran's look, quickly accepted. Go ahead and do your work. Contact me if you need anything, Kiran instructed. Yes. Young Master York, the flower girl said and left. The three sat down, no longer interested in eating. Kiran, how will you move forward? Lilian asked. I plan to get the York Traditional Medicine Clinic running and then focus on the investment organization. Didn't you have Lindsay Ludwig and Serena Zimmerman in charge of that? Kiran nodded. They're working together. Not sure what's happening since the bigger players haven't moved yet. They're probably waiting for Yasuda Corporation. Lilian pondered. Other investment groups might think Yasuda will handle things, so they don't need to act. So, the core issue is Yasuda Corporation. Kiran mused. Yes, Yasuda Corporation. If they don't act up, this situation won't change, Lilian affirmed. Kiran fell silent, pondering Lilian's advice. The Oiran Organization can't kill you. Their contract might have a deeper meaning, Lilian cautioned. Deeper meaning? Kiran frowned. Oiran is dangerous if they latch onto you, like a woman after her man cheats, clingy and hard to shake off. Kiran smiled wryly. So, I've run into a stubborn problem. Not exactly. It seems someone connected you with Oiran intentionally, so that you have a relationship. There's such a thing. Kiran York was surprised. I deduced it, Lilian suggested, giving Kiran a meaningful look. Kiran understood and shrugged. Jessie isn't attractive. Lilian smiled. I'll leave now. Kiran wanted to ask more, but Lilian had already gone. Kiran frowned, lost in thought. At the Sea of Love Leisure Club, Jessie Jensen was fuming. Chapter 773. Damn Kiran York, calling me ugly. I'll stab you. Stab you. Jessie Jensen stabbed at a doll in front of her with a throwing knife. The doll represented Kiran. After being humiliated by Kiran, Jessie wanted to hire someone to kill him, but the response she received was a refusal to kill Kiran. She didn't understand why they would accept the task initially but then refuse to carry it out. She asked around but found no answers. Filled with frustration, Jessie, unable to confront Kiran, could only take her anger out on the doll. Beep beep. Just then, her phone rang. Seeing that it was Yasuda Corporation calling from Sunland, she answered. Did you kill Kiran York? The other side asked arrogantly. We tried to assassinate him 3 times and failed, Jessie responded, annoyed. Damn it. Useless. The other side cursed. Jessie was irritated and retorted. You're the useless ones. Damn it. You couldn't kill Kiran in Sunland and let him return safely. You're a bunch of useless idiots. How dare you call others useless? Jessie lashed out in anger, leaving the people at Yasuda Corporation at a loss for words. After a long pause, they asked again, can you kill Kiran or not? Of course, we can. Jessie recalled being told to respond this way and said it decisively. Good. We'll wait for your news. The Yasuda Corporation representative was pleased. But we need to increase the price, Jessie added. How much? Double. That much. The person from Yasuda Corporation asked angrily. With all of you failing to kill Kiran, you think hiring us is expensive? Jessie retorted. Wait for my call, the other side said and hung up. Jessie hesitated briefly, then called her superiors, who praised her, stating that their goal was to demand money constantly. Jessie didn't understand the purpose but followed the orders. Her superiors were Zara Yanes and Fiona Sinfield. You sure are going all out for Kiran, Fiona said. He's my son. If I don't, who will? Zara laughed. Jessie will probably be driven crazy, Fiona chuckled. That brat Kiran, I've introduced him to so many beautiful women, and he hasn't fallen for any of them. I'm so disappointed, Zara said, sighing. When Titus York was devoted to you, you didn't want to share him with us. He didn't want to. He's just like Kiran. Fiona scoffed. I'm not stopping him from loving you. You just didn't try hard enough. Zara grinned. We didn't try hard enough. How hard should we try? Fiona said, annoyed. How about going to the York family's gravesite to scold Titus? Zara teased. No, I'm not in the mood. I just hope my niece Aurora Sinfield and my apprentice Irina Zimmerman don't follow in my footsteps. With the brain zombie goo and love spell unresolved, Karen can't move anyone, Zara said, concerned. I think the biggest issue is Karen's heart. Don't you have a goo that makes him lose control and sleep with them all? He'd take responsibility later anyway. Go away. Are you trying to upset me? Fiona was frustrated talking about the goo. Ha ha ha. They both laughed heartily, feeling relaxed. In Sunland, Kanta Yasuda was in his office. Damn it, Kanta, learning that Karen wasn't killed but more money was demanded, cursed. Yes, the subordinate quickly responded. Can they kill Karen? Kanta asked, suppressing his anger. They seemed confident. Confident. Yes. Kanta fell silent. Knock, knock, knock. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Come in, Kanta called out. Looking at the door, Aida Misa entered. Kanta was pleased to see her. Aida, can you go to Dragon's Land again? Go to Dragon's Land? Aida feigned nervousness. I just returned with Ichiro Matsubara. Could I? Damn it, Kanta cursed. Yes. Aida stood straight, respectful. Go to Bayville, contact a woman, and supervise her killing Karen. Kanta commanded. Can she kill Karen? Aida asked, skeptical. Kanta was annoyed but replied. She should be able to. The Ninja Association of Sunland couldn't kill him. Who is this woman? Aida intended to go but was setting up her excuse in advance. Kanta was unable to explain. He just sighed. You just handle the payment. If they kill Karen, pay them. If not, don't. Yes. Aida agreed. Ezuki, give her the contact. Yes. Ezuki looked at Aida and gave her the phone number. Here's 500 million. They want 400 million to kill Karen? The rest is for your expenses. Kanta was generous. Thank you, Kanta, Aida said gratefully. Kanta emphasized, make sure to kill Karen. Don't worry, Kanta. Go. Yes. Aida left. Kanta looked at Ezuki. You follow her and supervise secretly. Yes. Ezuki left. Kanta sneered. Karen, if 600 million can kill you, I'll pay. Aida and Ezuki headed to Bayville separately. Aida arrived in Dragon's Land that night. She didn't contact Karen but Jessie. Aida feared Jessie might genuinely try to kill Karen, so she intended to help Karen by gathering information and reporting back to him. Aida called Jessie. Who is this? Jessie asked coldly. I'm here to supervise you killing Karen. From Sunland. Jessie asked, hearing Aida's stiff Dragon's Land accent. Yes. Jessie was annoyed but said, meet me at the York Traditional Medicine Clinic. Aida agreed. Okay. Jessie hung up and hesitated before calling Karen. Chapter 774. Kiran York was about to go to bed when he saw Jessie Jensen's call. Not knowing it was Jessie, he answered, who's this? The one who wants to kill you, Jessie angrily responded. Ha! Kiran recognized Jessie's voice and sneered. You don't have the ability, you'd better stay put. Get to the York Traditional Medicine Clinic right now, or I'll burn it down. Jessie threatened and hung up with a snap. Listening to the beeping tone, Kiran was baffled. Where did Jessie get the courage from? After a moment of hesitation, he looked toward Snow Xander's room. Wifey, I'm going to the clinic. I'll be back soon. Be careful. Snow came out holding the pajamas she was changing into and looked at Kiran with concern. Kiran glanced at her, seeing the dazzling white sight. He quickly covered his nose. Snow, delighted, flaunted her curvy figure, looking vibrant and alluring. Kiran wanted to devour Snow. Giggling, Snow teased, go on. Come back soon. Okay. Kiran agreed, still lingering over the sight. A question popped into his mind. Are mature women less shy, seducing me like this? Snow watched Karen's back, her eyes gleaming with pride. She wanted Karen to love her deeply. Karen arrived at the York Traditional Medicine Clinic late at night. The lights were on at the entrance, but inside, everyone was resting. He saw Jessie's car, a black Volkswagen, looking low profile. Karen walked over. Jessie sat inside, watching Karen approach. Her eyes were cold and angry. Jessie got out and glared at Karen. Karen looked at her, noticing her white bat sleeve blouse, blue jeans, and high heels, her curvy figure exuding a charming aura. Dressed like this so late at night. Trying to seduce me? Karen shook his head, looking at her waist. You're thick-waisted, and with that blouse, you look like a barrel. Jessie had thought she was dressed smartly, exuding youthful charm. But in Karen's eyes, She was just a matron with a barrel waist. Her anger surged. You bastard. My wife didn't cheat on me. I'm not a bastard. Kiran stared at her curvy figure, pondering. If something happens between us, will you make your future husband a cuckold? I'll kill you. Shocked by Kiran's teasing, Jessie lost control and threw some knives at him. Kiran didn't dodge. He waved his hand lightly, redirecting the knives. The knives sliced through Jessie's jeans, leaving cuts that exposed her pale skin. Jessie felt the cool air and panicked, thinking she was bleeding. You look good in distressed jeans. You have the potential to be a beggar, Kiran teased, admiring her long legs. Kiran, you deserve to die. Jessie charged at Kiran, forgetting she had called him out because of the Sunland visitor. Kiran laughed and dodged lightly. Is this the first move of a crazy beauty? You. Jessie lost balance, falling towards Kiran. Are you trying to seduce me? Kiran said, raising his hand. A burst of internal force steadied Jessie. Though Jessie stood straight, her anger and shame grew. Kiran didn't even touch her, showing he found her unworthy. The humiliation was worse than death. Kiran, if you don't die today, I won't let this go. Jessie charged again. Hey, you called me here to go crazy. Kiran mocked. Jessie, frustrated, cursed. Boring. Kiran said, annoyed, reaching out. Give me 100 million, or I'm leaving. Jessie recalled Kiran's demand for 100 million each time they met. Her anger boiled. No money, only my life. Really? Yes. None. Fine. Kiran grinned, stepping closer. Jessie, puzzled, asked cautiously, what are you doing? You said you'd give your life. How about having a baby? Kiran, you beast. One? Shush. Kiran put a finger to his lips. Not with me? Then, with who? With the men at the clinic. You can choose. Jessie. After a pause, she muttered, beast. She drew a knife and aimed at her own chest. Dink. Kiran flicked a silver needle, knocking the knife away. Kiran, kill me, Jessie cried, humiliated. Don't flatter yourself. I'm no killer. Jessie was defeated. Decided what? Pay or die. Roman I. Jessie hesitated. If you're a man, sleep with me? Sleep with you? Kiran stared at her waist. No thanks. You might crush me. Kiran, you beast. Jessie felt more humiliated. Now, you can choose, pay, or else. Kiran looked into the clinic. I'll pay. Jessie thought of the men and felt disgusted. Kiran smiled, waiting. Jessie sighed, suppressing her anger. I don't have money now. You called me here without money, disrupting my time with my wife. How will you compensate? Kiran demanded. Jessie. Young Master York. Aida Misa stiff Dragon's Land accent interrupted them. Chapter 775. Upon hearing Aida Misa's voice, Jessie Jensen was taken aback. Wasn't this the person from Yasuda Corporation sent to kill Kiran York? Kiran also looked at Aida, surprised. You're back again. Hearing Kiran speak to Aida more gently than to her, Jessie felt a surge of jealousy. Kanti Yasuda sent me to supervise a woman to kill you, Aida quickly explained. Supervising now. Kiran teased with a smile. No. I'm just following Kanti Yasuda's orders, Aida quickly clarified, fearing a misunderstanding. Kiran guessed it was Jessie, so he asked, which woman? I'll make a call. Aida pulled out her phone and dialed Jessie's number. Jessie's phone rang, and she angrily ended the call. Aida saw but didn't realize it was Jessie, so she dialed again. Stop calling, Jessie angrily shouted. It's her, Aida exclaimed, looking at Kiran. Kiran nodded slightly, then looked at Aida. How much to kill me? They doubled it, Aida replied. So, 400 million. Kiran asked. Aida nodded. In total, 600 million, which is close to 4 billion in Dragon's Land currency. That's a hefty price. Kiran smiled and looked at Jessie. So, we could meet 40 times, right? Even 4 times would drive her crazy. 40 times would send her to an asylum. Jessie, humiliated, was furious, glaring at Kiran. I don't want to see you even once. I don't want to see you either, Kiran said, then looked at Aida. Is she prettier than my wife? Aida knew Snow Xander and shook her head. No. Would I want to look at her? Kiran laughed. Aida shook her head but wanted to say she wasn't sure. However, Jessie thought Kiran didn't want to look at her, making her angrier. She shouted at Aida, he's Kiran York, the one you're supposed to kill. Aida ignored Jessie and respectfully handed Kiran a bank card. Young Master York, this contains 500 million. It's all yours. Are you crazy? Jessie exclaimed. Her worldview was shattered. Were they supposed to kill Kiran or worship him? Aida continued. There's also 200 million already given to them. They promised to kill you. Jessie hung her head, silent. She had been utterly betrayed. Kiran took the card and looked at Jessie. See, 500 million, given to me willingly. Kiran, you're just a gigolo. Jessie was so angry she was at a loss for words. If I were a gigolo, do you think I wouldn't snip you right now? Kiran threatened. Jessie shuddered. Kiran looked at Jessie. You can't kill me, right? Right, Jessie answered, humiliated. Kiran looked at Aida. Yasuda really wants to kill me, huh? Yes. Let's go. We'll put on a show, Kiran said, heading towards the York Traditional Medicine Clinic. Jessie hesitated but, seeing Aida enter, followed. Young Master York, the security guard greeted Kiran. The guards had seen Kiran's and Jessie's altercation but wisely ignored it. Kiran nodded and went inside. Hearing the noise, the healing prince and the others came out. Sophia Carter saw Aida and widened her eyes at Kiran. Master, you like this type? What? Kiran was confused. I'll call tomorrow and have those dozens of girls sent over for you. Sophia didn't finish as Kiran knocked on her head, making her cry out. Sophia rubbed her aching head, standing to the side, grimacing. Young Master York, what's this? The healing prince asked. Get me injured makeup and make my arm look like it's injured, Kiran ordered. Yes. The healing prince and Frank Dean didn't understand Kiran's intentions but obeyed. Soon, Kiran looked injured. Kiran looked at Jessie and Aida. Now, take pictures and record a video. Then send it back, and keep asking for money. The women quickly complied. Afterward, Kiran waved them off. Go. Yes. Aida replied, bowed, and left. Jessie glared at Kiran with hatred, wishing the injuries were real and wanting to stab him. Kiran pretended not to notice and ignored her. Finally, Jessie left, frustrated. Kiran cleaned off the bandages and medication. Young Master York, why cooperate with them? The healing prince asked. Give the enemy hope, and they'll continue desiring. Kiran smiled. The healing prince nodded, understanding. Kiran finished cleaning up and prepared to leave. He saw Sophia waiting outside. What is it? Kiran asked. Do you like Sunland women? Sophia asked mysteriously. Kiran rolled his eyes. You idiot. I'm serious. Sophia grabbed Kiran. Sunland women are good homemakers, and they all. She trailed off. Kiran, annoyed, teased. They all what? They all like being grown-up women. Sophia blushed, thinking of movie scenes. Kiran pretended not to understand. Grown-up women. You mean kids? Sophia, annoyed at his pretense, quickly said, No, I mean. Mean what? Mean you're dirty-minded? Kiran replied, irritated, turning to leave. Sophia stood there, face flushed, trying to speak but unable to. She stomped, planning a surprise for Kiran, a Sunland woman robot. Thinking this, she went on Amazon to search. Kiran didn't know what this crazy girl was planning. Meanwhile, Aida sent photos and videos to Kanta Yasuda. Seeing Kiran injured and pale, Kanta was pleased and called Aida. Chapter 776. Can Kiran York be killed? Kanta Yasuda asked right away. Aida Misa thought, you wish. Instead, she confidently replied, I suspect he's in grave danger. Ha ha ha. Kanta laughed. I never expected Kiran to die so pitifully. I think Kanta chose a good assassin. Aida flattered. What do you mean? Kiran thinks he's popular with women, so he naturally lowers his guard around them, giving the assassin an opportunity. Good point. Very good point. Kanta was pleased with himself. Kanta, what should we do next? Aida asked. You need to supervise and confirm if Kiran is dead. If he is, the mission is complete, and we reclaim Dragon's Mount. And if he isn't, Aida quickly asked. If he isn't, then continue trying to kill him, Kanta said through gritted teeth. This time, the assassin lost a lot trying to kill Kiran. They've already stated that unless they get more money, they won't attempt it again. Aida's remarks were setting up to request more funds. Always asking for money. Kanta cursed. Sorry, Kanta. It's not me wanting the money, I know it's not you. Kanta sighed and said, I'll send another billion to you. If Kiran is dead, keep the money. If he isn't, give them 800 million to kill Kiran. Yes. Aida agreed immediately. Kanta hung up. A few minutes later, Aida got a call saying the money had arrived. She quickly called Kiran to inform him that she had received another billion. Kiran smiled broadly. Aida was truly obedient. Kiran thought Kanta was foolish. The money was all going to him, Kiran. Kiran now just waited for Kanta to lose his temper. When Kanta raged, he would lose control, and that would lead to the Power Hub investment group losing control too. Slow cooking was Kiran's strategy against Kanta and Yasuda Corporation. He went to sleep happy and content, especially with Snow in his arms, so full of love. Snow, suspecting she was pregnant, dared not be too passionate with Kiran, fearing a miscarriage. She slept quietly in his arms. Compared to Snow and Kiran's peaceful sleep, Jessie stood naked in front of a mirror after bathing, even using an A4 sheet to measure her waist. She cursed, "Damn you, Kiran. I have an A4 waist." Kiran's barrel waist comment had enraged her more than if he had hit her. Jessie resolved to confront Kiran tomorrow and prove she had an A4 waist. Kiran was unaware that both Jessie and Sophia Carter were planning surprises for him. The next morning, Kiran drove Snow to work and went to the York Traditional Medicine Clinic. He arrived just as a bus pulled in. The driver was Keith Moon. Kiran walked over, curious. "Why are you still driving? Not working?" Keith excitedly jumped out, rubbing his hands, grateful. "Dr. York, thank you. Thank you. Thank me." Kiran was curious. "What do you mean?" "Dr. York saved the CEO of Sea Sky Transport yesterday. Chairman Shimon specially arranged this bus route and made me in charge, with the salary raise." Keith felt like he had won the lottery. Kiran didn't expect this but admired Doris Shimon's decisiveness. She was someone who got things done. "Thank you, Chairman, for me." "Young Master York, you're too polite." "I'm very happy to work for you," Doris Shimon said as she got out of the car. "Chairman Shimon is meticulous," Kiran praised. Doris shook her head. "Compared to your passion, we are small-minded. We appreciate you giving us the chance to do good." Kiran appreciated such people and smiled. "I'll check on Bill Gaylor." "Thank you, Dr. York." Doris teared up. Kiran saw that patients weren't many, and the healing prince and Frank could handle them, so he went to Bill's room. Doris saw her son still unconscious, anxious but glad he seemed less pained. Kiran examined Bill's wound, changed the dressing, and said, "He's out of danger now. Just needs rest." "Thank you, Miracle Doctor." Doris was relieved. Kiran gave some instructions and left. Doris was hopeful and excited. Kiran not only saved her son but gave her a chance to connect with him and Xander Corporation. She was a businesswoman, and after seeing Kiran's value after returning from Sunland, she wanted to get closer to him. Kiran didn't care about such things, just wanting to make the York Traditional Medicine Clinic famous and strong quickly. As he left, he sensed a sharp gaze. Looking over, he saw Jessie in the parking lot, arms crossed, face full of anger and hatred. Kiran was puzzled and walked over. Sophia was learning to diagnose patients. Seeing Kiran approach Jessie, she followed, curious. Kiran stood next to Jessie, naturally extending his hand. "Pay up." "Sure, I can," Jessie replied. Kiran was taken aback, then laughed. "You have money?" Jessie didn't mind and focused on Kiran. "I don't have a barrel waist." Kiran laughed and looked at her waist, smiling broadly. "I really don't have a barrel waist," Jessie repeated, angry. "Is that necessary?" Kiran asked. "Of course, I don't have a barrel waist." Jessie almost cried. Seeing Jessie like this, Kiran felt like teasing her. "How would I know?" "Look." Jessie showed him a photo comparing her A4 waist to her slender waist. Kiran laughed. "That's from the internet." "Right, Jessie. See for yourself." Jessie looked at her shirt. Chapter 777. Kiran York was momentarily taken aback, not expecting Jessie Jensen to be so bold. What surprised him more was the sight of her flawless, smooth skin without any extra fat. As a professional assassin, she maintained a much more attractive and lively figure than many other women. Kiran hesitated for a moment but quickly regained his composure, nonchalantly saying, "How does that concern me?" "It does," Jessie loudly declared. "How?" "You need to apologize for calling my waist a barrel." Kiran didn't expect this and laughed, saying, "What if I don't?" "Then you should see for yourself." Jessie handed Kiran an A4 sheet of paper, inviting him to check her waist. Kiran found it absurd and turned to leave, uninterested in indulging her. "It's here." Sophia Carter suddenly ran over, holding a box. Both Kiran and Jessie were surprised. Jessie quickly hid the A4 sheet behind her back, feeling embarrassed in front of someone else. Kiran looked at the erratic Sophia, puzzled. What's here? Your favorite, Sophia exclaimed, placing the box on the ground. Kiran, this is my surprise gift for you. What's inside? Kiran looked at the box, curious. Open it and see, Sophia teased. Kiran frowned, curious, but proceeded to open the box. Inside was a white packaging bag, obscuring the contents. Kiran reached over to Jessie, who thought he was touching her, and tensed up. She was disappointed that Kiran was only reaching for her throwing knife. He gently slashed the knife, opening the package and revealing the contents. Kiran was unfazed, but Jessie stepped back in fear. Hello? The contents spoke in a sweet female voice. Master, this is a robot. My gift to you, Sophia said, barely holding back laughter. Kiran saw the outfit and turned dark. Master, this robot will satisfy you, and it's your favorite. Styled as a Sunland woman, it's more realistic than the real thing and can even talk. Sophia went over and pressed a button, and the robot emitted an alluring voice. It has many functions to satisfy a man's needs, even perverted ones. Sophia continued nonchalantly. Jessie was shocked. Kiran's face darkened. Hey, what are you doing? Sophia suddenly yelled, looking behind Kiran. Jessie turned to look but, seeing nothing, realized she had been tricked. Ah, Sophia cried out in shock. Let me go. You brat. Are you asking for trouble? Kiran grabbed Sophia. Sophia was clever. Seeing Kiran getting angry, she faked a shout behind him to distract him and escape. However, it didn't work, and she was caught. I was wrong, Sophia pleaded. She went all teary-eyed and adorable, tears on her long eyelashes. You know you're wrong, Kiran coldly questioned. Sophia nodded quickly. I know I was wrong. Deal with it. Seeing people looking over, Kiran let her go. Sophia rubbed her sore arm and cautiously approached the robot. Just as she reached it, Sophia suddenly grabbed it and ran off, shouting, I know I bought too few. I'll get more next time. Sophia Carter, you? Kiran was about to chase her when he saw Aida Misa approaching eagerly. He stopped. Seeing the robot, Aida looked at Kiran with eyes shining as if to ask, do you like Sunland women? If so, I'm a real one and can satisfy you. I know all the moves. Kiran knew explaining was pointless, so he asked, what's up? Aida quickly snapped out of it and said, Young Master York, should we keep pretending and fooling Kanta Yasuda? Kiran nodded slightly. Okay, since you're both here. Okay. Aida enthusiastically agreed, still glancing at the box, her eyes full of hope and excitement, feeling like she had a chance. Kiran ignored her, pretending not to see, and looked at Jessie. Since Aida is helping earn money, I'll waive your debt. I didn't have it anyway, Jessie retorted. Kiran didn't argue and went into the clinic. Jessie was reluctant, but seeing Aida follow, she followed too. With yesterday's experience, Kiran quickly made himself look seriously injured. The two women took photos and videos to send to Kanta Yasuda. Kiran. Lindsay Ludwig's voice called from outside. Kiran saw Aida and Jessie weren't done, so he didn't move. When Lindsay entered and saw Kiran seriously injured, she panicked. Kiran. Lindsay cried out and hugged Kiran, sobbing. Kiran still didn't move. Seeing this, Aida and Jessie filmed more enthusiastically, finding it very realistic. Lindsay was distraught and crying nonstop. Unexpectedly, this scene created an unanticipated effect. Who hurt Kiran? I'll kill them. Lindsay wiped her tears and looked at Aida and Jessie. The two women were about to explain when Kiran sat up. I'm fine, just pretending. Pretending. Lindsay, delighted, hugged Kiran tightly. You scared me. Boo-hoo. Kiran gently hugged her. It's okay. Meanie. Lindsay was genuinely worried, so she lay in Kiran's arms, pouting and hitting him playfully to vent her displeasure. Lindsay's sincerity touched Kiran, but her very tight hug was making him uncomfortable, making breathing difficult. Jessie felt jealous. Why didn't Kiran treat her this well? Lindsay wasn't even Kiran's wife. Sensing Jessie's gaze, Kiran felt uneasy, saying, now it's over. You can go? Yes. Aida obediently replied. Jessie unhappily glared at Kiran before leaving reluctantly. What are you doing? Lindsay asked curiously. Fooling a fool. Who's the fool? Kanta Yasuda. Him. Lindsay's expression grew serious. Chapter 778. What's wrong? Kiran York asked curiously. How did you manage that? Aida Misa is Kanti Yasuda's secretary. She came to supervise Jessie Jensen in trying to kill me. Is Jessie the jealous and spiteful woman from earlier? Lindsay Ludwig asked. Spiteful? Yes, but jealous. How could you tell? Kiran asked, puzzled. He had no reason to provoke jealousy, as he had no relationship with Jessie. Lindsay rolled her eyes at Kiran. I'm a woman. What do you think? Do women know everything? Kiran laughed. Lindsay hadn't expected Kiran to tease her. She responded, slightly annoyed. That's right. I understand men and childbirth. Want to give it a try? Kiran immediately shook his head. I've already tried everything. You. Lindsay thought of Snow Xander, feeling a bit envious. You seem to be suspecting Kanti Yasuda just now. Kiran changed the subject. If it's like you said, Kanti Yasuda will soon ask Power Hub Investment Group to help him make money and cover his losses. Oh, Kiran drew out the sound but then quickly smiled. That's great. I've been waiting for this. Lindsay's expression became slightly serious. With our kind of venture capital, many businesses actually end up in crisis after our investment. Kiran responded calmly. We know that. What is there to fear? We should still be cautious. Are you worried? Kiran asked, looking at Lindsay. Lindsay nodded, then shook her head. I'm not worried about myself. I'm only worried about you. I'm fine. Anyway, the deeper the conflict now, the deeper the hatred later. Your recent trip to Sunland was already impressive. If conflicts escalate, the consequences could be dire, Lindsay said. What consequences could there be? Worst case, you give yourself a dagger again. Kiran teased. Do you wish for my death? Lindsay was slightly annoyed, glaring at Kiran with a resentful look. Who else is behind the venture capital organization? Tell me, Kiran asked. Yasuda Corporation from Sunland doesn't worry you. Lindsay glared at Kiran, implying he was too arrogant. One is too few, and I felt a bit bored lately. I'm actually hoping for more enemies. Kiran appeared fearless. Go to hell. Lindsay snapped, slapping Kiran. Do you want to scare us to death? Kiran felt Lindsay's concern and was happy. How about I go to Sunland and kill Kanti Yasuda, then deal with the others? I'll crush you. Lindsay saw Kiran was in the mood to cause trouble and became furious. She held him and pressed him down. MMMPH. Before Kiran could react, Lindsay had already kissed him. Kiran felt a bit frustrated as Lindsay kissed him. It seemed like he was the one who was being kissed against his will, yet she was the one making noises. Knock, knock, knock. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. Lindsay quickly sat up, her chest heaving, cheeks flushed. She glanced at Kiran and gave him an angry look. Come in. Kiran called towards the door. Aida Misa entered, looking at Kiran. Young Master York. However, her gaze shifted to Lindsay. Seeing Lindsay's peculiar expression, she immediately guessed what had happened between her and Kiran, feeling a twinge of jealousy. Why are you back? Kiran asked curiously. Young Master York. When I went out, I saw Ezeki, one of Kanti Yasuda's men. Aida looked nervous. Does Ezeki pose a threat to you? Kiran asked directly. Somewhat. I suspect he's monitoring me, Aida said worriedly. I see. Kiran stood up and began to clean his fake wounds. What is young Master York planning to do? Aida asked, still uneasy. Kiran looked at Aida. Just stay here and pretend to be a patient. I'll go out and deal with Ezeki. Yes. Aida breathed a sigh of relief and responded excitedly. Here's a photo. Lindsay, take a look. Kiran was busy cleaning off the medicine. Lindsay sent the photo to her phone. 10 minutes later, Kiran came out with Lindsay. Lindsay held onto Kiran's arm. They looked like a couple. Lindsay scanned their surroundings, looking for Ezeki. No need to look. He won't let you see him, Kiran chuckled. So how do we handle it? Why rush? Kiran glanced around. The fish is already in the pond. It won't escape. What if he reports to Kanti Yasuda? Wouldn't that be troublesome? Kiran shook his head. Not troublesome at all. Lindsay didn't quite understand Kiran's meaning. She followed him towards the bus stop. 10 meters away, on the east side, Ezeki was pretending to smoke, sneaking glances at Kiran and Lindsay. Seeing Kiran unharmed, Ezeki's heart began to tremble. He felt like he'd been tricked. However, to avoid suspicion, he continued to smoke, not even looking at Kiran. When he finished, he tossed the cigarette butt on the ground, ready to board the bus. Littering. Kiran stood before him with a half smile. Kiran, Ezeki called out instinctively. starting to back away. Kiran pretended to be curious. You know me? I don't know you. Ezekiel realized he had misspoken and tried to back out. If you know me, then what's the problem? Kiran remained calm and smiled as he approached. Ezekiel put his hand in his pocket and suddenly pulled out 3 throwing knives that he threw at Kiran. Kiran didn't dodge. He strode forward, waved his hand, and with his internal force, the knives swirled around, shooting back at Ezekiel. Ezekiel turned pale, quickly backing away, but he couldn't avoid the knives. Slash! Slash! Ezekiel's legs were cut. Ow! Ezekiel screamed and fell to the ground, blood splattering. Kiran approached him. Ezekiel tried to crawl away but fell again due to the pain. He looked at Kiran nervously. What do you want to do? Kiran smiled without speaking, continuing towards Ezekiel. Thinking of Kiran's audacity and how he killed the ninjas, Ezekiel grew scared. He quickly said, I'm with Yasuda Corporation. If you kill me, smack. Kiran slapped him, disdainfully saying, killing you is like killing a chicken. Chapter 779. Tui. Ezekiel spat out a mouthful of blood. Ow. Ezekiel let out a pitiful scream, his eyes darting to Kiran York, filled with panic and anxiety. Kiran raised his hand again. Stop. Ezekiel saw that Kiran was furious, and he pleaded in fright. Stop what? Kiran sneered. Don't kill me, Ezekiel hurriedly said. Are you afraid of dying? Yes. Then offer me something to exchange for your life, Kiran said coldly. Ezekiel's eyes rolled around, his expression flustered as if he was contemplating. Smack! Kiran's hand came down. Quit dithering. Ah. Ezekiel was not only in pain but also saw in Kiran the ruthless executioner who spared no one. He felt his life hanging by a thread. Our Yasuda Corporation wants to kill you? Ezekiel shouted. Their confrontation had already attracted patients and their families. Some were curiously recording videos and taking photos. Hearing what Ezekiel said, the crowd's attention focused even more on them, and some were already angry. The Sunlanders are so sinister. What they did to the miracle doctor in Sunland, ganging up on him and being untrustworthy, was disgraceful enough. Now they want to resort to assassination. Expose this and let everyone know about their shamelessness. Make sure these people receive legal punishment. People on site rebuked, while some started live streaming. Ezekiel grew more nervous and uneasy. Kiran dragged Ezekiel over to the crowd, threw him down with a thud, and said, Speak up. Huh? Ezekiel cried out in pain, grimacing. Speak up, the crowd shouted at Ezekiel. Ezekiel trembled with fear. As he was rolling his eyes and contemplating what to say, he saw the murderer's look in Kiran's eyes and hurriedly said, I am Ezekiel, from Yasuda Corporation in Sunland. According to Chairman Kanta Yasuda's arrangement, I came to find someone to assassinate Kiran. Ezekiel confessed under Kiran's pressure. With his confession, the news quickly spread through the live streams and social media circles. Yasuda Corporation immediately shot to the top of trending searches, and Kanta Yasuda also became a focal point. When Kanta Yasuda learned of this, his face turned ashen, and he kept cursing, almost wishing to kill Ezekiel. However, Kanta's anger was futile. Kiran pulled Lindsay Ludwig over and turned her towards the crowd. The crowd was puzzled, looking at Lindsay and Kiran. Lindsay also turned her head, her beautiful eyes intently focused on Kiran, wanting to know what was happening. Her name is Lindsay Ludwig, the daughter of the CEO of Power Hub Investment Group, Kiran introduced. Lindsay's head buzzed, realizing Kiran was about to expose Power Hub Investment Group. She quickly looked at Kiran, her almond-shaped eyes wide, trying to warn him not to speak. However, Kiran seemed not to notice and continued. Power Hub Investment Group is actually a foreign-backed venture capital firm engaged in abnormal domestic investments. One of his backers is Yasuda Corporation. Huh? The crowd gasped. All those watching the live stream also gasped. Even Kanta Yasuda dropped his phone to the ground. Kiran's revelation was enormous. He didn't care and continued. The Ludwig family was unaware of these connections. They were just hired workers. Their so-called CEO and manager titles were just roles others gave them. They were unaware. Upon hearing this, Lindsay breathed a sigh of relief but still didn't understand Kiran's intent. Kiran pointed at Ezekiel. Actually, I want to thank Ezekiel. If not for his reminder, I wouldn't have known this information. Ezekiel was stunned. When did he say this? He felt he was being framed. Damn it. On the other side, Kanta Yasuda believed it and angrily cursed Ezekiel for betraying him. Lindsay felt her burden lighten a bit more. Lindsay regretted deeply after learning this information. She wanted to commit suicide to atone for it, but I saved her. I admire Lindsay and her family, Kiran said. Then he suddenly stepped forward and lifted Lindsay's clothes to reveal the wounds inside. Lindsay's clothes were lifted, and she cried out in shame, quickly trying to pull her clothes back down. Kiran helped her pull them back down. The crowd didn't see the wounds themselves, but only saw medicine on her. They believed it. Shameless Sunlanders. Leave Power Hub Investment Group's money in Dragonsland. Yes, leave it here as compensation. The crowd was stirred up, shouting. Lindsay now fully understood. Not only was Kiran helping her family clear their name, but more importantly, he was using this method to keep Power Hub Investment Group's money in Dragonsland. This was a huge amount of money. It meant that the Formback Force's investments over the years would be in vain. Lindsay felt both anticipation and joy. On the other side, Yasuda, who had been angry, now felt a chill down his back after hearing Kiran's words. Kiran's move was to cut off their financial source. Damn it, damn it. Yasuda stomped his feet and cursed. Beep beep. At this moment, his phone rang frantically. He quickly answered it. The other side said, "The Yasuda Corporation incident is your company's issue. It has nothing to do with us." Yasuda's heart sank, realizing the forces behind him had abandoned him. There was no choice, as this matter was too sensitive. Yasuda felt cold all over, his face showing intense fear. His phone began ringing nonstop, with people breaking ties with him, asking for money, or demanding he find a way to get the money back. Yasuda Corporation was just a representative or leader in Sunland. He certainly didn't have that much money himself. Yasuda was stunned. Meanwhile, Dragonsland announced that all Power Hub Investment Group's funds would be frozen, and their assets would be liquidated. This announcement set off a tidal wave, even causing turmoil in the financial sector. However, it wasn't fear but a great benefit. After all, Power Hub Investment Group controlled a large amount of capital and had a significant impact. As for Ezeki, he was taken away by the police. Kiran once again became the focus of countless people, a hero in everyone's eyes. Kiran breathed a sigh of relief. He was just looking for a powder keg to ignite the conflict. Initially, he had a grudge against the Ludwig family, but now he felt the country was more important. So, he used this method to force the Ludwig family to sever ties with the forces behind them. It worked. Ezeki became the fuse. Yasuda Corporation became the scapegoat. At Power Hub Investment Group, Finn Ludwig looked grim, not expecting such an outcome. Chapter 780. Kiran York's announcement left the Ludwig family in a precarious position. More importantly, they were uncertain and worried that this situation would spell disaster for the family if it wasn't handled properly. Finn Ludwig was very displeased with Lindsay and tried calling her several times, only to be ignored. While Finn was feeling anxious, Yvonne Quinn walked in. Seeing his second daughter return, Finn, though fond of her, remained grim-faced and found it hard to be happy. "Dad, you should be happy," Yvonne said, addressing this man who was not her biological father. When she arrived, she stated her identity but didn't call him Dad. Although Finn longed for Yvonne to address him as such, he had no choice but to wait. Now, hearing her say it, his expression changed dramatically, and excitement flashed in his eyes. "Yvonne, what do you mean?" Finn asked, suppressing his excitement and looking at his daughter. "Dad, it's clear that Kiran is protecting the family because of my sister," Yvonne analyzed. "Protecting the family?" Finn questioned. Yvonne nodded. "Even if my sister didn't tell him, Kiran would surely know." Finn was silent. He believed that with Kiran's ability, he could easily find out. "In fact, I suspect my sister didn't say anything. Kiran is helping our family on his own," Yvonne asserted firmly. "Helping the family?" Finn was taken aback. Yvonne nodded. "Kiran has become broad-minded. He wants to repay evil with good and forgive our family." Finn fell silent, thinking of the familiar face of Titus York. Titus was a gentleman, a person of great character. Kiran, his son, bore a resemblance to him, so this was quite likely. "Dad, we are Dragonsland people." Yvonne's eyes moistened, reflecting her excitement, and she continued. "Kiran went through countless hardships and narrowly escaped death in Sunland. He upheld Dragonsland's dignity and has seen through much. His level of thought is beyond what we can comprehend." Yvonne paused before continuing. "Perhaps in Kiran's heart, He has already let go of family grievances. Can he let go? Finn asked, his voice filled with unease and incomprehension. Didn't he spare the 3 major families in Bayville? Yvonne countered. Finn remained silent. If you continue with this investment, the future funds of Power Hub Investment Group will belong to others, and you will risk your own life and that of your family. You might even be labeled as a traitor, Yvonne warned. Finn's body trembled, his face pale, and cold sweat formed on his forehead. He was clearly terrified. Kiran has not only given us hope but also an opportunity, Yvonne added. What opportunity? Finn asked. An opportunity to repay society and the country, Yvonne answered, looking at her father, her eyes full of seriousness and indignation. Finn was silent. He hadn't anticipated such thoughts, but Yvonne's words woke him up. Kiran's actions were intended to draw hatred toward himself while benefiting the country. Even their family, due to Kiran's announcement, had become heroes. Kiran truly had changed, thinking of the greater good. Finn's expression was conflicted, as if debating how to proceed. Finn Ludwig, don't tell me you're not even as brave as the children. At this moment, a woman's voice sounded. Finn and Yvonne looked towards the sound. Maxine Danes approached in a white outfit. Finn looked at his wife and suddenly felt a distant feeling, as if an unbridgeable gap separated them. Mom, Yvonne called out for the first time. Good child. Maxine's eyes were wet as she quickly stepped forward and held Yvonne's hand. Yvonne returned the grip, her eyes filled with a smile and detonation. Maxine looked at Finn. Titus was like a brother to us. He did a lot for our family when he was alive. We wronged him back then. Sigh. Maxine sighed. Now that we have the chance to repay society, we can't miss the opportunity to correct our past mistakes. Finn's face turned red with shame, revealing a complex expression, and he looked up at Maxine. Her skin was fair and beautiful, still stunning, but she now bore the marks of time, especially crow's feet at the corners of her eyes. Thinking back to the past years, Maxine had actually lived in pain, always repenting for what happened. He instinctively clenched his hands. His lips moved. How about you go to Bayville? Maxine's face changed slightly, looking at Finn. I'll hand over the money to the country, Finn said, his face full of guilt. I also want to kneel at Titus's grave and atone for my sins. Then hand over the money quickly, and let's go together. Okay, Maxine suggested. Roman, can I go? Finn's face was filled with shame and guilt. Now that Lindsay is with Kiran, he has actually forgiven our family. If you go, you'll even be like his father and mother. Yvonne didn't mention her love spell affair with Kiran. Hearing this, Finn seemed encouraged and excitedly looked at Maxine. Do you think it's okay? I have no objection. Maxine appeared excited. Finn thought for a moment. All right, even if it costs our lives, this time, we'll do something worthy of our country and our identity as Dragon's Land citizens. Finn, thank you. Maxine cried tears of joy, her face showing intense excitement. Finn shook his head. Don't thank me. Thank the children. They made us realize the truth. Finn clenched his fist. I'll call now and settle the money. Great. Maxine nodded excitedly. Finn took out his phone and was about to call. Yvonne suddenly shouted towards the door. Bang! Suddenly, a noise came from outside. Be careful. Maxine reacted quickly and rushed to shield Finn. Bang! A shot echoed in the room. Ah! Maxine cried out in pain, shot in the back, and fell limply to the ground. Maxine, Finn cried out, holding his wife. Maxine said, Give the money to the country. Quickly, quickly.